In Alaska, the landscape can change in the blink of an eye. One moment you're standing at the foot of a disappearing glacier, and just hours later you're hiking through a lush, fern-covered forest along the coast. Today we're taking you from ice to ocean, starting here at Exit Glacier in Kenai Fjords National Park. You'll notice a few extra people with us on this first hike. That's because we're currently in Seward as part of a 3-week Alaska adventure, a hybrid trip where we're spending 9 days with a small tour group before heading off on our own deep into the wild. From witnessing the reality of climate change at Exit Glacier to a surprise encounter with a playful family of river otters, this day was full of Alaska extremes. And while today starts on one of Seward's most popular trails, it ends somewhere completely different. Quiet, wild, and all on our own. We're Betty and Vito. Welcome back to the adventure. We're starting today on the Exit Glacier Trail here in Kenai Fjords National Park. This is a well-maintained 2.2-mile round-trip hike that takes you to an overlook of one of the most accessible glaciers in Alaska. Would you say this trail's easy?
Oh, yeah, obviously.
So I'd say it's easy. There is a little bit of elevation. It is 1 mile to the lookout. There are rocks, so some people have walking sticks, and that's probably a good idea. You're a little unstable.
What are you going to say on all trails?
It is a crowded trail. It's a very popular trail. Go ahead. You're photobombed it. You did it. You're in it now. Along the way, you'll pass a series of markers showing where Exit Glacier used to extend, some dating back just a few decades. Each sign is a quiet reminder of how quickly this glacier has been retreating. You know what forms a glacier?
Snow and ice, obviously.
Right, over time. So if you have more snowfall than you do have for melting, then it just accumulates, and over time the ice pressure and everything builds. Eventually you have a glacier. This one happens to be receding quite rapidly since the mid-1800s.
1951, there's a forest line right there. See that? Right there. Forest line. Yeah, right in there. Right now we are at the 2005 point, or this glacier here actually extended out to where I'm standing right now in 2005.
And this is where it was in 2010. Rising temperatures cause the ice to melt faster than it can be replenished by snowfall. Warmer summers and shorter, milder winters have dramatically changed this landscape in a relatively short period of time. We're at a shelter that gives a really good perspective of the receding line for this glacier. In 1987, this shelter was right next to the glacier.
Look at the pictures up here, 2004 and 2000.
Yeah, we'll walk through all that.
Yeah, that's just crazy. Look at it today. So what you see behind me is the Exit Glacier, and if we were up higher at the top, you'd be able to see the Harding Icefield. And in 1951, the glacier was all the way down here. If you want to get closer to the source of the ice, there is another hiking option, the Harding Icefield Trail. This is a very strenuous 8.8-mile round-trip hike that climbs steeply above the valley to panoramic views of the massive Harding Icefield, which feeds almost 40 glaciers, including this glacier, Exit Glacier, and Holgate Glacier, which is one of the glaciers we will be visiting on our next video. The glacier, as it melts, it runs down into a river, and that river is called Resurrection River, and it flows into the Resurrection Bay, which is where our next hike will take us. We don't regret choosing the easier hike today. Exit Glacier gave us powerful views and a front row seat to the reality of climate change in Alaska. And just as importantly, it left us with the time and energy to experience something completely different. Just a short drive away, the landscape changes completely. Here on the Tonsina Creek Trail, Alaska trades ice and rocks for moss, ferns, and quiet. It's about a 30-minute drive from where we were at Exit Glacier. It's an out and back, so we can go as far as we want. Most people hike about 3.5 miles. We'll need to hike back to our lodge, so we'll be closer to 4.5 or 5 miles. So we did carry bear canister today. I ended up putting it up on my waist belt for my backpack so that it's within reach. I hope we don't run into a bear where we're going to have to use it, but we've got it just in case. The first part of this trail is basically a road walk. Look at all this moss on the trees. I'd say it's pretty clear which way to go here. The cabin. Yeah, we won't go to South Beach. That would be 7.6 one way. We meandered along a well-maintained trail through a thick spruce forest, surrounded by ferns and moss-covered trees, the kind of deep, vibrant green that feels worlds away from the glacier we just left behind. This trail is definitely a forested trail, and it's actually quite busy. Lots of greenery. I got switchbacks. The trail crosses one of 2 small bridges before opening up to the shoreline of Resurrection Bay, where black sand meets the water. Before even reaching the beach, we were treated with an unforgettable surprise. A family of river otters playing in the creek below us, while 2 very vocal bald eagles carried on overhead. Later in this Alaska series, when we explore Ketchimek Bay, we'll meet the river otter's much larger cousins, the sea otters, so keep an eye out for that episode. River otters are smaller, weighing up to 30 pounds, with short, sleek fur, while sea otters can reach nearly 100 pounds and are known for their thick, fuzzy coats. River otters live along rivers and coastal waters and often come ashore, but sea otters stay almost entirely in the ocean. Family life is different too. River otters usually have 2 or 3 pups raised in riverside dens, as you can see here, while sea otter moms raise 1 pup, only 1, carrying it on their stomach until it can swim on its own. That was pretty cool. We saw otters as well as 2 bald eagles up in the tree. I wasn't expecting it. I love it. Starting to spit rain again. We're going to go ahead and head back from the second bridge here.
Highlight of the trail is definitely the water crossing at the first bridge. We ran into an otter family playing very playfully over there for a good 2-3 minutes before they jumped in the water. Then we crossed the bridge on the other side and saw 2 beautiful bald eagles perched just sitting there. When you cross the bridge, you go down to a beach. You got some beautiful scenery down on the beach, nice deadwood, driftwood on the beach. Then you make a loop back to the second bridge and you come back through a nice mossy forest. You can see all this moss in the background. A lot of moss back here because it's very damp.
One thing I've learned about Alaska is you do need to plan for all sorts of weather conditions. So in my pack I do have the layer that I took off, another fleece layer, I got my rain jacket, I actually have an emergency blanket. Yeah, the weather changes around here pretty quick. From ice and rock to moss and black sand beaches, this hike was a perfect reminder of just how diverse Alaska can be. Sometimes all in the same afternoon. Seward has been incredible, but our Alaska journey is just getting started. Next, we trade hiking boots for paddles and head out into the water, sea kayaking through Kenai Fjords. Rain or shine, nothing could dampen the thrill of getting so close to Holgate Glacier. Subscribe to travel with us as we continue exploring Alaska, one adventure at a time.